So a man walks into a bar, walks up to the bartender and he says, "Bartender, give me a beer." So the bartender pulls him a beer and hands it to him. And the fellow turns around and he's looking around. It's a big bar, looking around the place. And he sees back in the back corner there, back over there, there's a poker game going on. But it's not like any poker game he's ever seen. There's three guys sitting there, and the fourth is a great big dog. And the dog's holding his cards and looking pretty serious about this game. And the man just can't believe his eyes. And he turns to the bartender and says, "I've never seen anything like that. There's a dog over there playing poker." And the bartender said, "Yeah, he comes in most nights." And the man said, "Well, that's incredible. I mean, this should be big news. Who ever heard of a dog playing poker?" And the bartender said, "Yeah, he comes in, he likes to play poker, but he's not very good." The man said, "Well, what do you mean he's not very good? It's incredible that he can even play." The bartender said, "Yeah, he can play okay, but every time he gets a good hand, he wags his tail." Well, hello. I'm Raymond Shubinsky, your instructor, and I like telling jokes. I'll tell some more as we go along in the semester. But in this little video, I just want to spend a few minutes going over what will happen during this semester. Okay, and I have my little cheat sheets over here so I can keep track of what I'm talking about. First and foremost, obviously, this is a fully online class, a virtual class, and that means it's kind of unstructured. And I know in last semester when we did the first full online class, some of my students, and by the way, this semester there are 25 of you in this class now. I didn't think we'd make it, but last semester I had 100 students, and a few of them, and maybe rightly so, had a little bit of a problem getting used to the sort of unstructured idea of a virtual class. I'm not going to come online at specific times. I'm going to do my best to post lectures, video lectures, of course, every Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes it may vary depending on what's going on, but that's what I will be shooting for, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, let me look at my notes here. Anyway, so yeah, I guess I'm covering it according to the notes I wrote out. So the point is don't fret, don't freak out if you think, well, things aren't happening fast enough, or Ray's forgotten about us or something. So that's perfectly all right. If you have questions, email me, and a few of you have already started emailing me, and I'll address a couple of those questions as I go along here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I call myself the old fart professor now because I've been doing this for what seems like a very long time, and this virtual idea is all new to me. I've learned new computer skills I never thought I would manage. My next one, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes here, is the Zoom meeting. Yeah, I've participated in Zoom meetings, but now I'm going to try to set them up so we can all get together. And again, those Zoom meetings will not be a regular feature every week that you need to sign into. They will be occasional. And I'm gathering emails from all of you. If you haven't seen my request, here it is again. Please send me an email as soon as possible telling me what schedule works for you that you could join into a Zoom meeting. I will do my very best to accommodate everyone. The most likely scenario is that I'll have like a late afternoon Zoom meeting and maybe an early evening Zoom meeting. We'll see how that goes. All right, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So who am I? Well, I've been teaching university classes for most of my career, which goes back, let me think, 40 years, something like that. I've been doing this a long time. I have kind of an eclectic background. I have advanced degrees in communications theory in particular, and I uh, love science, and my goal was, and still is, that I wanted to write and even produce information about science. So I also have advanced degrees in, well, basically physics, astronomy. I even taught astronomy for a long time on top of everything else. Oh, did I forget? I have a minor in Latin. What in the world? But yes, I have a minor in Latin, and I even taught Latin for a little while. Most excitingly, recently, I had an email from a former NFL linebacker who wanted a tattoo, and he needed a motto uh, produced that he wanted in Latin. So I'm waiting to see a picture. I just hope the tattoo artist spells everything correctly. So, yeah, there's kind of my odd and eclectic and a little weird background. So, uh, you know a little bit about me. I hope to learn a little bit more about you. Now you can see I'm sitting in my office at home. I no longer have an office on campus. I just teach part time, and I lots of books. I love books. Can't get rid of books. I try. I try so hard, and I can't even get rid of them. But that's all right. And I also collect, of all things, clocks. Now, I don't have anything wild and crazy, and I've even stopped most of them in the house because my wife, God love her, is also teaching online. She's a CCSD elementary school teacher. She's trying to educate first graders online. Oh, what excitement there. So I've stopped most of the clocks, too much banging and clanging. There are one or two, and I have one that may go bing bong here in just a few moments, so don't be surprised. Anyway, so we have some challenges in learning online, but I think we can surmount all of those. So I don't know about you, I certainly miss the classroom. This is a communications class, and uh, I feel like I'm just talking to myself as I look into my computer screen, but I know you're all out there. So we'll make this work one way or another. Oh, I'm still a contributing editor to the world's largest selling astronomy magazine, and as you guessed, it's called Astronomy Magazine. And I love doing that. I'm a contributing editor there. So I still get to communicate about science in many different ways. So, oh, and I have several dogs. So if you hear barking or unhappiness, that's just because they want into the room when I'm trying to have a little peace and quiet and record these videos. You might get to meet my favorite dog. She's called Maisie. She's a Scottish Terrier, and she even features in one of my lectures. So maybe I'll drag her in here and put her in front of the camera. All right, now then, obviously if you're watching this video, you've been on Canvas to find the video. And you can see that I've uploaded the video to YouTube. That's the platform that I've chosen to use. We can also make videos in Canvas. It's not nearly as convenient. I've just found that YouTube works very, very easily. I'll talk a little bit more about recording here in just a few minutes. I do want to make sure you understand that you need to check Canvas, I would say, every day to see if I've sent out more notices. And I do send out a lot more notices because of the online component now than I would in a regular classroom situation. So check Canvas every day. Look at what I'm sending you. If you're confused by it or don't understand what I'm doing, please let me know. And if my spelling is totally wonky, let me know that. Well, no, don't let me know. It's all right. My wife, I hear her teaching in the other room. She talks to the kids about using your best guessed spelling. I think I might have been doing that most of my life. All right, so what's happening? As you can see from the information that I have posted on Canvas so far, there are two tests listed, the midterm and the final, and those will be based on my lectures and on the readings in the book. Now, how do you get the book? All right, so I've already sent out a couple of emails, and there are links on the homepage of Canvas for this course that will take you straight to the Cengage website, where you can register for the electronic component of this class. I've said in several emails, do not buy a physical book. Oh, here it comes. Okay. Oops. It's going to ding a couple of times here. I should have stopped that one too. But anyway, you do not need a physical book. In fact, don't get the physical book. It's imperative that you register with Cengage, because the midterm and the final, and possibly quizzes, will be taken entirely online through the Cengage portal. It's called MindTap. Some of you may have already experienced Cengage and MindTap in other classes. I think Cengage has at least 150, probably more, online components for everything from nursing to physics to communications and so on. So some of you may be familiar with this. As I've said in the emails that I've sent out, it costs about $52. I asked the rep yesterday, and she said $50 or $52. I don't know. It's actually less than the cost of buying a book. The advantage of it is that you get the online textbook, you have access to the midterm and finals, and any quizzes that I may want to create. More about that again in a moment. It's all done through the Cengage portal. You must register for that. Don't wait until we're getting close to the midterm and then decide to register. That will do you no good. For one thing, you won't have access to the chapter material. So there you go. That's my hoo-ha about signing up for Cengage. If you have any issues, I'll do my best to help you with the registration. But what I see is not exactly the same as what you see. And so I have to admit, I've not been terribly successful guiding students through. There's a nice video that's linked to this that tells you exactly how to go about the registration. So I think you should be able to get that. So anyway, the tests. The tests are based, as I said, on my lectures, which will be video lectures, which I will post and provide you the link on Canvas, so that you just go click and you can watch. All right. But don't think that you can just not read the book, because there's still more than I can talk about in any given lecture that's covered in the chapters. So be sure that you have that up and running in the next week. I will start providing reading lists next week. I'm not going to do it this week. I had 10 people added to this class just today to fill out for the 25. So I know some of you are out there still scrambling to get everything in place. So don't worry about that. Also, I need to mention, on the e-textbook, at the end of each chapter, there's a quiz you can take. I'm not counting those quizzes as scores, but you can take them. It won't count one way or another. You can take them as review. They make great review. Any quizzes that I might do, I will create myself and post on MindTap. All right, so what else is happening here? Okay, Canvas. Let me go back to that. And I guess I could have pulled up the page and shared it with you, but you can look at it. When you look at Canvas, down the left-hand side of the home page is a whole list of stuff. Things like announcements, grades, people, files, syllabus, modules. All this stuff is down the left-hand side. I have posted the syllabus under the heading of syllabus on the left-hand side of the Canvas page, and you can go in and look at the syllabus there. I'm going to post a fairly short video PowerPoint lecture about the syllabus tomorrow, and to explain that a little bit in more detail. Also, the heading that says files. Now, I haven't put anything in the files yet, but all my PowerPoint lectures, which I do as videos, I also download. No, I guess I upload. Got to get the directions right. I upload all those PowerPoint presentations into the files as well. Of course, there's no audio when you look at them in files. It's just slides. But those are great review. So you can watch my video lecture, but then later just go in and open the files and find that PowerPoint, and you can just click through it and see what I did with that without having to sit through a whole lecture again. So they're great for review. So that should, at least for the moment, take care of anything that I do on the front home page. I'll probably add some things as we go along, but it's pretty straightforward for finding this information. Now, I also want to say that even though I won't give any reading assignments until next week, not all the chapters will be covered in this course, and I'm not gonna. I'll just post which ones aren't, but I will tell you exactly which chapters are covered in the midterm, and then which chapters are covered in the final. I do not. The final is not cumulative. The final is only about the chapters that we cover after the midterm. So that makes it, I think, a little bit easier on everyone in preparing for the final. I do not have you read the chapters consecutively. I jump around in the book. So again, I will post what chapters will be used for the first half of the course up to the midterm, and what chapters for the second half up to the final. So don't panic. I might tell you read chapters 1 and 2 first, and then jump to chapter 7. I've got to look and see. But I do jump around with these chapters. So don't freak out and you think, oh, he forgot to tell us to read chapter 4, or whatever it might be. I don't do them in order. All right. Let's see. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I think I've covered most of this. Let's see. Videos. I've already told you that I will post all my videos on YouTube. I'm really wondering. I'm seriously considering either trying to become a internationally known and famous YouTuber, or set up an Instagram account and become a world famous influencer. Don't know. Haven't decided yet. I'll let you know. But I put everything on YouTube. Now, we're going to have a Zoom meeting next week. I will get something set up for everyone, and even if I have to do 2 of them, so we can get everyone on a Zoom meeting at some point. Last semester, I had everyone provide, excuse me, I had everyone provide me their presentations by way of a recorded speech, and that worked pretty well. If we do that, then you have to do it and upload it to YouTube, or you can send it through Google Drive. I had some other odd formats that were hard to open or didn't work well, so those are the only 2 formats that I'll accept. What I want to try, and we'll see how this works out. What I'd like to try, since I only have 1 class, that's only 25 people, I might have you, you hear all this hedging here, I might have you do your first assignment in a Zoom meeting. And again, I'll explain this more in detail. That way you'll actually have an audience. That was the biggest problem I had with the recorded speeches that came to me, through YouTube and other sources. People were doing speeches in closets, in their cars, in their garages. You know, some of them were pretty strange, and some of them were really wonderful. So everybody did the best that they could do, uh, but in most part, there were no audiences. Few people gathered, family and friends, but in this time of pandemic and social distancing, it's hard. So we'll talk about this in the first Zoom meeting, uh, and we'll go from there. So again, some of this is a little, uh, we'll see how it works kind of situation. But all my videos will be posted to YouTube, and I'll give you the link so you can go straight to it. Let's see. In my notes, I've already talked about that. What else? Oh, let me talk about the speeches. Obviously, this is a class about giving speeches. There are 4 speeches. And when you look at the syllabus and when you watch my PowerPoint about the syllabus, there are 4 speeches: a dramatic reading, self-introductory speech, a informative speech, and a persuasive speech. Okay, 4 speeches. Yes, and they are all required. You can't skip one of the speeches. Uh, Most common structures for a class like this do a self-introductory speech, a demonstration speech, informative speech, and persuasive speech. And yeah, that's 4. I can count. Years ago, I decided the demonstration speech was just redundant. Also, when we were doing this in the classrooms, people wanted to demonstrate how to bake their grandmother's chocolate chip cookies and various things. And typically, I had 4 classes a semester. That's 100 students. 60% of these people are baking food for me, and I had to eat them. I was gaining weight. It was terrible. So, but again, I feel that the self-introductory, informative, and persuasive speech will give you a great understanding of the structure and the process of putting together a speech. So I've dumped the demonstration speech, and now I start the class with a dramatic reading. And it's really simple. It's very straightforward. You're going to pick a poem, a little part of a story that you might like, even a children's book, and you're going to present it. Of course, I'm going to give you parameters about how to present it and so on, but it's pretty straightforward. Again, in my PowerPoint about the syllabus, I'm going to go into more detail about these speeches. So anyway, dramatic, self-introduction, informative, and persuasive speeches. Let's see here. I've talked about the Zoom meeting. I think I've covered pretty much everything that's in my notes. I wish I could say, are there questions? Okay, if there's questions, please contact me, and we'll make this work. I'm an optimist by nature, and as much as I dislike doing a virtual class, I do have to realize that we live in a world now where we do so much through the internet, on our computers, and so on. It's not uncommon to have a job interview over the internet. So, in some ways, learning to be comfortable online is a good thing, and learning to communicate clearly and effectively online is a good thing. So, let's try to put a good spin on this, and we'll have a great semester. I want to thank all of you for listening for the last almost 25 minutes as I look at that. And you'll see some more of me with my PowerPoint presentations coming up very, very soon. Thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves. And remember, never play a dog at poker.